Hello folks, this is John Matus from Training Center Manager Software. I'm here today to give you a quick introduction to the roster submission tool using TC Web Services. If you are an instructor and you're affiliated with a training center that uses our product, you'll be instructed to go to a particular web portal, perhaps either with an email with a URL in it, or there may actually be a button on the training center's website that leads you to this particular portal. And the one you're looking at right now is a generic. It's the demonstration portal that we use for this kind of thing. Your training center's portal will probably have a banner that looks a little more custom to them and some information up there that is customized for that training center. But for the purposes of demonstration, it will look something like this. And the area that you're going to submit your rosters in is this course roster entry area. So you would click on that. And what it'll do is it'll take you to a course roster form that you can use to submit information to your training center. So I'd like to walk you through some of these fields so you get a quick sense of how this would work for your particular training center. Now you'll notice the first field under course information that it asks you for is the course group. This puzzles folks sometimes, but it's basically the organization that you taught for. So for example, if you are affiliated with ABC Hospital as a training center, and you have taught your class, you certified through them, but you taught your class at your fire department, you would enter XYZ Fire Department as the group. Some of your training centers will instruct you to use your name as the group so they can associate this course with you. However, in most cases, it's simply the organization that you taught for. The course location is the physical site that you're teaching the class at. So for example, in this case, we will put XYZ Ladder 2 as the physical site, meaning the building or organizational branch that you taught the class at. The course type in this case will select healthcare provider renewal. In your organizations, this may be a little bit different from location to location. For example, your training center may have more courses or perhaps less courses depending on what they allow you to submit remotely. So again, BLS training centers may have a few less courses than ACLS and PAL centers would, etc., etc. The course date that I'm going to submit is going to be the 12th of January. 2011, and I will put a start time of 9 a.m. Under the comments, I'm just going to put class went okay. You don't really have to fill in a comment, it's not a required field, but sometimes it's good for passing on little tidbits of information. I'm going to put my name as the instructor, because I taught the class. Now, let's say that I had a helper, I had an assistant instructor. All you need to do is put add instructor, and it will open up a new field for you. Typo. So there's our email for our second instructor. And again, you can continue adding instructor for however many that you have listed on your roster. The student information is the next field. Under the student information, I will put the name of the student. Technically, the web form only requires you submit first name, last name, and it defaults the student to pass. You will need a field, but it defaults to pass. You may choose to do that to just put in the first and last name, or you can choose to put in all of it. Your training center may have some guidance for you. They may require that you put in certain pieces of information that are not necessarily available at the time. The other thing I want to point out to your attention is the use of this license number. This is really meant for medical licenses. If the student doesn't have one, you can just leave it blank, but if you put in a medical license, it's possible that they can use the last name and a license number in another area of web services to run transcripts. So if you happen to have medical licenses, they're useful. Your training center may not require you to do that at all. So here's our first student. Let me fix that capitalization. What I did was I hit the Add Student button to create a profile for a second student. I'm going to leave this one mostly blank and just put in a test score for him. And I'm going to add a third student again by hitting Add Student button. And then by filling out the third profile. And again, you can do this indefinitely. However many students that you have, you can just keep hitting the button to create new profiles for them. So don't feel that you're limited in any way to how many students you can submit with this tool. So I'm going to partially fill this one out. I'm going to leave the license number blank, and I'm just going to put in this. I'm going to leave the test score blank. For example, for a Heart Saver course where there might be no test, you could certainly just leave a null there, meaning put nothing in the field, and the form will accept it. If it's a healthcare provider, of course, you'll want to put in all the tests. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to submit this one with no test score so you can see how that works. Now, my next move after submitting all of this information, or at least filling it out online, is to hit the Submit button. And what the Submit button does is it saves the information on the server so that your training center can retrieve it the next time they synchronize their databases. So when you see the return course information has been successfully saved, that's your cue that the website held information and that you're in good shape. So at this point, we're all done. Okay, the form returns and refreshes, so you could submit another course if you wanted to, but at this point your training center will be able to retrieve the information on the back end. As far as your paperwork is concerned for the class, that really is a local policy. We don't get too involved in that. Some training centers will make you still mail in the paperwork because they need to hold hard copies. In other jurisdictions, you may find that they're okay with you holding on to the paperwork. Like I said, it's a little bit different with every AHA training center, so we don't get too involved in that piece. But this is again an example of course roster submission. If you have any questions regarding our product, you can certainly visit our website at trainingcentermanager.com. You can also reach us if you need information at 888-277-3671. Again, your training center would have to be a web services customer, so they would have to have this prearranged. But if you have an interest in just some information about the program, feel free to go to the website or get a hold of us. Thank you again, and we hope this little demonstration has been helpful to you.